We can say our pledge. I pledge allegiance. Thank you. All right. As I have your attention now, it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker for the day, a former student and now serving in ministry in Ruidoso, New Mexico. If you would please welcome Connor Mills.
Hey, good morning. So I went to Midland Christian, graduated in 2013, so I've been out of high school for 10 years, which is crazy. But there were a lot of things that were the same. I had Mrs. Keel for English. Anybody have Miss Keel for English? Yeah, she's the best. I had Miss McKinney for math. Anybody? Yeah, yes. Had Mrs. Pippin for speech. Had my mom for Bible and history. Yeah, Mrs. Mills is my mom, if you didn't know that. She's great. And then I went to cross country and track with Coach Rob, which is crazy. He was still coaching back then. No, I'm just kidding. He was a senior when I was a freshman. But there were a lot of things that were different at Midland Christian when I was here. We didn't have a nice parking lot. We parked that was dirt, and we parked in a big dirt lot, and a lot of my friends got stuck in the dirt when it rained. It was fun. I went to lunch across the street over here in a parking lot because it was my friend's house, and we would get wrecked by my friend Kevin Boney in Modern Warfare and eat lunch. It was great. Anyways, that's a little bit about me and how Midland Christian has changed a lot. This was a really small gym with red wooden bleachers that we pushed in and out back there. So tons of fun, real cool stuff. Anyways, I'm going to get into the important stuff now. And we're going to talk about how God is Trinity. I think we've got some slides, hopefully. God is Trinity. He's a Father, Son, and Spirit, right? Three persons, one God. The Athanasian Creed, big word. Guy named Athanasius met with some of his really smart Christian friends and came up with a creed, meaning that what they wrote, they believed that the church and that Christians needed to believe this in order to be a part of Christianity. And it starts off saying we worship one God in Trinity and Trinity in unity. And it goes on to get a lot better than that, and before that it's a lot better, but because of time I'm only going to say that one phrase, and you guys should go look up the Athanasian Creed. It's awesome. But this is the God of the Bible, the God in Trinity and in unity, and it's who we worship. And I would argue and say that if God isn't Trinity, then he's not worthy of our worship. All right? So that might be a little, what is it called? Forgot the word. Doesn't matter. But we're going to talk about that, how God is worthy of our worship because he is Trinity, all right? So I want you to fill in the blank for me. This is a four-letter word. It's probably the most famous saying of God ever. God is what? You guys kind of mumble a little bit, real loud. Love, right. Man, you guys are smart. Midland Christians still educating people real well. Way to go. God is love. How? How is God love? Somebody tell me. How is God love? Yeah, in the back, real loud so everybody can hear you. Perfect. How is he love? Yeah. Yeah, that is an answer. How was he loved before that? Somebody else. How was he loved before that? Quickly, we got to get you guys to class. Come on. Yeah. He created us. Okay, good. He created us, created everything we see. I live in Ruidoso. It's a lot prettier than here. He created that. How? I'm about to blow some minds here. How was he loved before that? All right. How was God loved before creation? Because he existed in Trinity, what we're talking about. He was a Father, a Son, and a Spirit, and he's in perfect love, perfect unity with Father, Son, and Spirit. So he's not first and foremost a creator or a ruler. If he was, he would need creation. He would need us, right? That's not a God worthy of worship. But because he's first Father, Son, and Spirit, he is worthy of our worship because he always has been love. He didn't become it. He always has been love. John 17:24 should be on the screen. Says, this is Jesus speaking at the end of his life here on earth. Father, I desire that they also, whom you have given me, may be with me where I am, to see my glory that you have given me, because you loved me before the foundation of the world, right? So Jesus was there. He knows that his Father loves him, and he's telling us here in John 17. They existed in perfect love. C.S. Lewis, the guy who wrote Chronicles of Narnia, they made it into a movie. Maybe some of you have seen that. He called this Trinity a divine dance, all right? And they're in this perfect love, such love between Father, Son, and Spirit that it couldn't be contained. It's overflowing. It bursts forth into creation. That's where creation came from. Not because God needed to be creator, but out of his perfect love, creation comes forth. And so God the Father is in creation, right? Genesis 1:1, in the beginning God, right? But did you know that the Spirit is present in creation? It's hovering over the deep waters. And a good Jewish person back then reading Genesis would read that as over the chaos, over the darkness. The Spirit is keeping it contained. And then where's Jesus in creation? Anybody know where Jesus is in creation? How's John 1:1 start? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God, right? How did God create light? He spoke a word, right? Jesus, present in creation. Creation was made through Jesus and by Jesus. He spoke a word. The Word was with God. The Word was God. All right? So all three persons of the Trinity involved in creation because they're overflowing in perfect love for one another. That's still the case today. Is it the case back then in creation, the case at the cross, and it's still the case today in our lives because what makes us a Christian? We're adopted, called children of God, made children of God, and we're given a Spirit, the Spirit, as a seal and as a promise and as a sign of our adoption as sons and daughters of our Father. All right? And what does the Spirit do? He loves God, right? Always has been, always is, always will be loving God, and that Spirit is given to us when we become a Christian. That's what makes us a Christian, right? It's not that we're good or better than other people, but it's that we've been given the Spirit of God to love him. So on that note, it seems like we're shifting directions, but we're going to come back real quick. Don't worry. I've got a question for you that I think should be on the screen as well. What is sin? It's a good question that we should know the answer to. When I was growing up, when I was going to Midland Christian, sitting in a much less nice building that you're sitting in right now, I grew up thinking that sin had to do with morality. You do what is right, don't do what is wrong. And if you don't do what is right, you're sinning. And if you do what is wrong, that's sin, right? I think that definition is lacking significantly on what sin truly is. Because if we read Luke 8 here on the screen, we're going to see that based on that definition, that doing what is right and not doing what is wrong, this demon that Jesus is about to save or cast out, he looks like he's doing what is right, okay? Let's read it. Luke 8:27-28. As Jesus stepped ashore, a certain man from the town met him who was possessed by demons. For a long time, this man had worn no clothes and had not lived in a house, but among the tombs. When he saw Jesus, he cried out, fell down before him, and shouted with a loud voice, "Leave me alone, Jesus, Son of the Most High God." He calls Jesus who he is. "I beg you, do not torment me." So it looks a lot like a demon doing the right thing. It doesn't look like the demon sinning, but demons, Satan, that's all they do. That's all they know. So if our definition of sin is not doing right or wrong, or doing right and wrong, whatever, right? Then this demon looks like he's doing all right. So I've got a better definition of sin that hopefully I can convince you of. And that is, the sin is not loving Jesus. Anything that we do that is not out of love for God, our triune God, is sin. Why do I think that's a good definition? Because, do you remember what I said? What makes us a Christian? What is it? We have Anybody listening? You can say it. It's okay. We've been given the Spirit, right? That's good feedback. I'm real confident in what I'm saying. We've been given the Spirit, right? What does the Spirit do? What does the Spirit do? What has the Spirit always done? Starts with L, ends in E. Love. He loves God. The Spirit loves God. We've been given, that's what makes us a Christian, is we've been given the Spirit to love God. And so, if we're not loving God, then that is sin, right? The Spirit has always been loving God. He's a pro at it. He's the OG at it. And we've been given that Spirit to love God. So I've got 3 questions for you, because I know y'all are dying to get back to class. 3 questions, and we'll be done. Do you love God, right? It's a good question. We've been given the Spirit to love God. So do you love God? How does it make you feel that God the Father has adopted you? God, the sovereign creator, holy God of the universe, has adopted you as his son and as his daughter. How does it make you feel? How does it make you feel that God the Spirit, eternal, always was, always will be, dwells inside of us, guys? That's crazy. That's crazy. Should make us passionate, pumped up, excited. Should make us feel humbled and give us confidence and lead us to worship who our God is. And so, if you're not passionate about those last 2 questions, and you call yourself a Christian because you show up to church on Sunday, you go to a Christian school, man, I might reassess, man, am I truly a Christian? And then that first question, do you love God? If you don't, and you're just saying, oh, I'm a Christian because I go to Midland Christian, because I show up to church on Sunday, I go to youth group in the middle of the week, man, again, I think a little bit harder about that. We've been given the Spirit who again, is pro at loving God. So if you don't, are you a Christian, right? And then, so I want to question those who call yourself a Christian and might not be, but I don't want you to doubt if you are truly a Christian and doubt yourself, because, so you see that first question, do you love God? And you think, yeah, I mean, a little bit. Sometimes in the summer when I'm going to summer camp with my youth group, but sometimes not. That's okay. God can use that. Isaiah 42:3 says, a bruised reed God will not break, and a smoldering wick God will not snuff out. And so what he means by that is it only takes a little bit for God, and he can use that in massive, massive ways. Again, take it from a guy who lives in the forest in New Mexico. A smoldering wick, a little small ember, can turn into a forest fire real quick. And just a little bit of love for God, God can light that on fire real quick and make you overflowing, just like the Spirit is for himself, right? Man, thank you guys. It's an honor, privilege to get to speak to you guys. I hope that learning a little bit about the Trinity, kind of awakens your love for him, changes your prayer life, your worship, and your whole